this is Pat Freeman and Chris Stevenson on the First Take of the Network. How you doing, Chris?
Good. How you doing, Pat?
Hey, we're going to talk about Precious, the movie, which Chris has written extensively. And if you go to his blog spot, Chris, give him your blog spot address.
BuffaloBullet.blogspot.com. That's www.buffalobullet.blogspot.com.
He has written extensively about the movie Precious. Chris, let me ask you this. Why is it that when a movie involving African Americans always seems to be degenerative in its nature? Why can't movies that are more positive, such as Miracle at Santa Ana by Spike Lee, Do the Right Thing, movies like The Great Debaters, which was produced by Oprah Winfrey, but it seems that movies that are a degenerative tone and seeing a black man rape his daughter and impregnate her twice is now being proclaimed as one of the best movies of the year. Why is that?
For one thing, it's fear. I think ever since Hollywood's inception, ever since the invention of the television, ever since motion pictures, going back to silent films, Hollywood, which obviously is not run by blacks,
right?
It never has been run by black producers or directors or anything or studios, has had a fear of full black manhood. In other words, historically, in real life, from ancient times, you've had black men who have, as white people coin it, saved the world and got the girl.
Right.
They're saying, we're not going to put this on the screen so people can see it.
Right.
We don't want white people to humanize you. We don't want black people being inspired by this and regarding themselves as being of this ilk. So you had the degradation, even from the obvious days of the Stephen Fetchit, Amos and Andy, things like this. And like I said, historically, Oscars have been given to black people who are in subservient roles or clownish roles, from the lady, that black lady in Gone with the Wind, right up to now we have today Precious. That's up for an Academy Award. My question is, how can we be impressed by watching a 350-pound black girl steal a bucket of chicken? And people are saying, oh, well, that's a great movie because it's good cinematography.
Right.
She's running down the street with a stolen bucket of chicken. I don't see it. I'm not seeing it. So it's the same old tricks being presented to us in a different form, but we're falling for it.
Once again, and why is it Denzel, great actor, no doubt about it, played one of his greatest roles when he portrayed Malcolm X. Was not nominated for an Academy Award, which he was proclaimed in our community as doing an outstanding job of emulating the tendencies, the mannerisms of Malcolm X. But when he is a soldier in glory who was beaten with a whip, he won an Academy Award. Training Day, he was a rogue cop. Selling drugs, he won an Academy Award, though he was a great actor, no doubt about it. Morgan Freeman, Driving Miss Daisy, won an Academy Award, has been a great actor for several years. Why is that, Chris? Why does it seem that the degrading movies that show dysfunction in our community are oftentimes hailed? Now, this is not taking away from the great acting of Monique.
Right.
And the other actors, Mariah Carey, of this movie. They did an outstanding job.
Yeah, they did.
But why are movies hailed as being great where the positive movies, such as The Great Debaters, which I thought was one of the best movies I've ever seen, does not get any acclaim?
Yeah. Hollywood is steering people towards negativity. They've done this for a long time, for generations, and this is just a carryover of that. You have you take the situation with Denzel. This is not Denzel's first time when he played that bad cop in Training Day. That wasn't his first time playing the heavy. If you remember back to A Soldier Story, he played a very questionable
rogue soldier.
Rogue soldier.
They killed the sergeant.
Right. Mm-hmm. Hollywood's saying that's not enough. We want to see more. We want to see more of this. We definitely cannot have him playing a rebellious Civil War, because in the final watch he was in the right anyway.
Right.
in that movie, his character was in the right, basically ahead of his time.
Right.
And not to mention Malcolm X, which he nailed that. Okay, and you mentioned some movies. I can mention others. I remember another movie that was overlooked, blatantly overlooked. Was Lawrence Fishburne's Othello.
Absolutely.
Okay, there's one more I'm thinking. I can't think of it right now. But Hollywood has passed over these, and when Malcolm X was out, and they nominated Havana, I think, with Robert Redford, which I saw that. It was a pretty good movie. I'm not knocking it,
right?
But nowhere near the level of Malcolm X,
right?
But
how about Miracle at Santa Ana? You mentioned that too in your writing, and I hope all of you go to Chris's blogspot. One of the most talented writers that we have in this country. He has written several articles about Precious. Miracle at Santa Ana, hardly mentioned. Great movie.
Yes.
Tremendous movie.
Oh yeah. Very good movie. I loved it. And the funny thing, when it first came out, I was complaining about it, but in view of what's been coming out afterwards, I look back at that and say, "Oh, this is really this wasn't so bad after all."
And why is Tyler Perry? Is it necessary that a black man must put on a dress and dress up like a woman? It seems to be a prerequisite for Hollywood.
If he wants to make money, he wants to further that career. You know, why don't we see? This is the reason we don't see Dave Chappelle anymore. We haven't seen him in a while. Okay, Hollywood has that. They have that role for us. They have that, these decisions are made before these actors even walk into the studio. And sad but true, that's the reality.
Hey, this is part one of this discussion. Next week, we're going to take this discussion to another level, but you can email me, Pat Freeman, at Freemaj, FREEMAJJ, at AOL.com, or you can respond to this on YouTube. Chris, put your blog spot out so people can respond to this part one of our discussion, and possibly you can email us and tell us what you think before we tape our part two of the discussion on next week. But give us your thoughts as we begin the first of a series of shots on the network. Chris, put out your blog spot.
Yes, that's Buffalo Bullet, www.buffaloBullet.blogspot.com.
And you can find both of us on Twitter. You can tweet us, or you can email us, take your pick, but we'll be doing spots each and every week right here on the network. Hey, I'm Pat Freeman, your moderator, and our expert commentator is my good friend, Chris Stevenson. You put out your blog spot again, Chris?
www.buffalobullet.blogspot.com.
Hey, part two, we're going to be talking more about this subject, dysfunction in the media, dysfunction on the screen, next week, part two. And look over at Chris's blog spot and you'll see some great commentary and some great articles that he's written on this subject of degradation and dysfunction in the media, in movies, on TV, and you name it, that involves blacks that live here in America and all African Americans. We'll see you next week with part two. We want to hear from you before we film that. Take care, Chris.
Okay, you do the same, Pat.